4 things that the younger generation should reflect on. What is failure? Giving up is the greatest failure. What is resilience? Only after you have gone through hardship, resentment, and disappointment will you truly understand what resilience is. Your duty is to work harder, be more diligent, and be more ambitious than others. Only fools speak with their mouths. The wise use their minds, and the enlightened use their hearts. Jack Ma. As long as a person still dares to stand up after being wounded, failure has no right to claim them. Those very falls sharpen one's character, teaching us that the path upward has never been paved with roses, but every scar holds its own value. Resilience, therefore, is not an outward hardness, but a quiet strength forged in the days when one is pushed into the dark corners of disappointment and bitterness. Only after crying in silence and doubting oneself does a person learn to stand firm without needing anyone's support. Resilience is the ability to smile after the storm, to have a heart that has been broken yet still chooses to believe in tomorrow. As for the duty of youth, it lies not in grand promises, but in persistent diligence, unpretentious hard work, and a fierce desire to rise above others. This world does not reward the lazy, but it always makes room for those who dare to push themselves to the limit. Every drop of sweat shed today is a silent brick, building the foundation of tomorrow. Amid the countless noises of life, only the shallow argue with words. The wise choose to think, while the enlightened listen with their hearts. When we learn to set aside the ego, we can touch the deeper layers of people and life itself. These 4 truths, if truly understood and lived, become the most precious companions on the journey to maturity for every generation. When life gives you 100 reasons to cry, show life that you have 1,000 reasons to smile. How people face adversity. Life is never smooth. It is like a river with calm stretches and raging rapids, sometimes crystal clear, other times muddied by storms. The reasons to cry may be loss, failure, pain, or loneliness, things no one can escape on the path to growth. But what defines a person is not how many times they fall, but how they rise after each stumble. 1,000 reasons to smile does not mean denying pain or pretending to be strong. It is choosing a positive attitude in the face of reality. It could be smiling because we still have breath to start over, loved ones by our side, and dreams waiting to be continued. Like a lotus rising from the mud, yet remaining pure, we too can find light even in the darkest days. When we learn to smile through hardship, that smile not only heals us, but spreads positive energy to those around us. Turn pain into motivation, challenges into lessons, and every day we live into a gift worth cherishing. When we do that, we do not merely survive life. We live a life worth living, where a smile is not escape, but proof of a soul that has learned resilience and love. When you are strict with yourself, life naturally becomes easier. When you are lenient with yourself, life naturally becomes harder. Zig Ziglar. Every lasting achievement is built on self-discipline, while every indulgence comes at the cost of future difficulties. Being strict with oneself does not mean being harsh or forcing an ascetic life. It is the ability to set boundaries, to say no to short-term temptations for the sake of long-term goals. It is waking up a little earlier to study, persevering a little longer to train, and being a little more patient in the face of failure. These things may feel tiring or uncomfortable at first, but they quietly build a solid foundation for the future. Like forging steel, the more times it passes through intense heat, the stronger and more durable it becomes. On the other hand, when we are too lenient with ourselves, always choosing the easiest path, avoiding difficulties, and postponing responsibilities, the price comes slowly but deeply. Today's laziness can become tomorrow's regret, Moments of drifting with fleeting emotions accumulate into pressure, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness before life. Then, life itself becomes harsh, forcing us to face challenges far greater than those we once avoided. Love yourself by disciplining yourself. When we are serious enough to live with purpose and steadfast enough to overcome temptation, life gradually becomes lighter and clearer. And in that quiet effort, we find not only success, but true inner peace and freedom. Do not chase power at the cost of morality, just as it is wisdom, not money or material things, that brings you happiness. Bob Marley. In a society where success is often measured by status, wealth, or fame, it is easy to believe that the higher one climbs, the happier one becomes. Yet power without morality becomes a double-edged sword that can cause a person to lose their conscience, their peace, and ultimately themselves. Morality is the compass that keeps us from losing our way amid countless temptations. When chasing power at any cost, people easily compromise with wrongdoing, stepping on others' values to achieve personal goals. At some point, even at the top, their souls remain empty, for power cannot buy tranquility or genuine respect. In contrast, those who hold on to morality are like trees with deep roots. No matter how strong the wind, they stand firm and grow sustainably. The role of wisdom, this invisible yet priceless asset. Wisdom is not just book knowledge. It is the ability to understand oneself, understand life, and make the right choices. Wisdom helps us know when enough is enough, when to stop, and to cherish simple yet lasting values. Money and material things may bring comfort, but only wisdom brings peace to the soul. When we realize happiness lies not in how much we own, but in living true to our values, we stop chasing illusions. This does not deny the role of success or material things, but emphasizes that they only truly matter when built on a foundation of morality and wisdom. When we stay true amid life's temptations, happiness no longer needs to be sought outside. It naturally blooms from within. Stop lying around in bed unless you're lying there and still making money. George Burns. The bed is meant for rest, for recharging after tiring hours of work. But when it becomes a refuge for procrastination, endless sleep, and meaningless scrolling through life, that very comfort turns into a soft trap. The quote reminds us that in a world always in motion, only action creates value. If we do not rise to learn, work, create, or at least move forward, we will quietly be left behind without realizing it. Lying in bed while still making money is a metaphor for flexible thinking, for mastering time, technology, and one's own intellect. It is when we use knowledge, skills, and creativity to generate value instead of wasting energy on meaningless pleasures. Then, rest is no longer escaping responsibility, but a well-deserved reward for someone who works with their mind. Be aware of every moment you are alive. Youth, opportunities, and time are all limited. If you choose to stay still, make sure it is a conscious choice, not the result of laziness. Only when we stand up, act, and create value does life truly open doors worthy of us. We are born crying, live complaining, and die disappointed. Thomas Fuller. The first cry is the sign of life, but also proof that we enter the world fragile and dependent. From that moment, we begin a long journey full of collisions, where joy and sorrow walk side by side. Yet, as adults, many let life pass in constant complaint about circumstances, about others, about fate, about things not going as planned. Repeated complaining becomes a habit, making us more accustomed to blaming than facing, to grumbling than changing. Even sadder, living in that mindset often leads to an ending full of regret. Dying disappointed refers not only to physical death, but to the withering of dreams, passion for life, and faith in oneself. It is realizing we have lived too long in procrastination, only to look back and see time gone, opportunities lost, and a life not truly lived. We have the power to choose a different way. Between the cry at birth and the silence at death, the time in between need not be a string of meaningless complaints. If we awaken and take responsibility for our lives, we can turn complaints into action, disappointment into motivation. Then, even if life remains harsh, we can still smile because we have truly lived, not merely existed. Life is a tragedy when seen close up, but a comedy when seen from afar. Charlie Chaplin. When the camera is placed very close to each moment, each pain, each fall, everything appears heavy, tense, and tearful. But when we step back and widen the frame to see the whole picture, those tragedies suddenly become small, even taking on the shape of a humorous story told by time with a forgiving tone. When we are in the midst of hardship, emotions often overpower reason. A small failure can feel like the end of the world. A careless word can sting deeply. Up close, we see only our own pain, believing ourselves the protagonist of a hopeless tragedy. Every feeling is real, intense, and heavy, convincing us this is the worst thing possible. Yet as time passes and we mature enough to look back, the things that once drove us to despair become memories that are somewhat amusing, even precious. Past stumbles turn into lessons. Old wounds help build today's strength. From a distance, we realize life never intended to hurt us. It was only teaching us to grow. That shift in perspective turns tragedy into comedy, tears into a gentle smile. Learn to step back and view life with a broader perspective. When not swept away by momentary emotions, we see that what seemed serious eventually passes. Perhaps the greatest maturity lies not in avoiding tragedy, but in the ability to smile when looking back at it from a safe distance. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in the suffering. Friedrich Nietzsche, a profound experience of human life. It does not deny the harsh reality, but honestly acknowledges the nature of existence. To live means facing pain, loss, and unavoidable challenges. Suffering is not abnormal. It is an inevitable part of being human. Amid the struggles, we do not merely endure. We can understand, accept, and transform pain into something meaningful. Through loss, we learn appreciation. Through failure, humility. Through hurt, deeper empathy for others. In the darkest moments, we have the chance to touch the depths of ourselves, where compassion, resilience, and life wisdom are formed. Survival here is not just physical existence, but continuing forward without losing the meaning of one's life. It is refusing to let suffering consume the soul, and instead using it as fuel for growth. Like coal needing pressure to become diamond, we shine brightest when we face and pass through our own pain. Life may be harsh, but in that harshness, we find reasons to live, to keep going, and to become deeper. When we grasp the meaning of suffering, we no longer fear it. We walk alongside it, steady and awake. Be a yardstick of quality. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. Self-discipline, high standards, and personal strength. It does not promote extreme perfectionism, but emphasizes living with principles and standards in a world increasingly tolerant of mediocrity and half-hearted effort. To be a yardstick of quality means setting a higher personal standard than what circumstances demand. It is doing work not just to finish, but to do well. Not living day to day, but with purpose and responsibility. Those with this spirit know quality comes not from show, but from small details done with care. In a society accustomed to speed and instant results, holding firm to personal standards can make one different even seen as difficult or strict. But that difference creates true value. Not everyone is ready to live in an environment that demands seriousness and improvement. When standards rise, careless habits, leniency, and half-hearted thinking are exposed. Rather than lowering standards to fit the crowd, the strong choose to uphold their principles, even if it means walking alone for a while. It is not about judging others, but a reminder to each person. Ask yourself what standard you are living by. When we choose to be a measure of quality, we not only elevate our work, but elevate ourselves. And in an environment that demands care and seriousness, lasting values have the chance to form and shine. Lack of talent can be compensated by desire, determination, and 10 times the effort. Zimmer. In reality, not everyone is born with outstanding gifts. Some learn slower, start later, or stumble repeatedly while chasing dreams. But it is in those shortcomings that the deepest desire to rise awakens. When someone truly wants to change their life, they are willing to spend more time, try harder, and persevere far beyond others. Over time, that persistence closes the gap left by natural talent. Determination is the fire that keeps us from giving up halfway. It helps us stand firm when compared, when failing, when feeling inferior. Effort is the small but steady steps each day, reading one more page, practicing one more hour, correcting one more mistake. Those seemingly minor acts, accumulated over time, create enormous difference. History proves many great people were not the most gifted from the start, but the ones who never stopped trying. You do not need to be perfect to begin, but you must begin to become better. When desire is strong enough and will enduring enough, initial limits gradually break, and one day, the quiet effort of today becomes the talent others admire.